In the Vatican's private dining room, a group of cardinals raised their glasses to Pope Leo XIV, the first American pope, expecting a lively discussion about faith and politics. Their subtle jabs at President Donald Trump, whom one boldly called the American Antichrist, were meant to test the new pontiff. But when the room fell silent under Pope Leo's piercing gaze, they realized they had misjudged the man leading the church. What happened next was a masterclass in humility and wisdom that left the cardinals stunned, and you will want to read it for yourself. The morning after Pope Leo's installation, the air buzzed with anticipation. After 3 weeks of mourning Pope Francis and a tense conclave, the cardinals gathered to toast their new leader. To Pope Leo XIV, our first American Holy Father, a senior cardinal proclaimed, met with a chorus of "Hear, hear." An Italian cardinal, eyes gleaming with curiosity, asked, "Your Holiness, how does it feel to make history?" Pope Leo, calm and composed, replied, "God calls us where he needs us most. I am his servant." The conversation quickly shifted to America's turbulent landscape. A South American cardinal noted, "Faith seems disconnected from public life in America." Another, with a sly edge, added, "Though some political figures claim to champion it boldly." President Trump's name surfaced, and glances darted across the table. Pope Leo sipped his coffee, silent but attentive. A European cardinal ventured, "It is remarkable how Trump convinces so many faithful Americans despite his complex relationship with biblical teachings." Soft chuckles followed, the room testing the Pope's stance. The cardinals grew bolder. A French cardinal said, "An American Pope during America's division feels providential. Your homeland needs the Church's reason." Another added, "Christianity is a political weapon in America like nowhere else." Pope Leo listened, his face unreadable, emboldening them further. "Trump poses for photos in churches," one scoffed, "but faith is not for cameras." A cardinal in his 70s leaned in. His administration promised religious freedom, but protected only one perspective. Murmurs of agreement rose, though some watched the Pope cautiously. A silver-haired cardinal from Eastern Europe pressed, "Your Holiness, you know America. How does Trump maintain Christian devotion?" Pope Leo took a slow sip of water. "Faith is personal. I do not judge anyone's relationship with God," he said, his diplomatic tone frustrating those seeking a clear signal. A progressive cardinal pushed, "When a leader uses faith to justify harmful policies, must the Church not speak?" Before Leo could answer, an Italian cardinal, smiling thinly, interjected, "Extraordinary timing, yes? God gives us an American Pope when America needs spiritual guidance." The room tensed as he lowered his voice dramatically. Perhaps God sent an American Pope to face the American Antichrist. Laughter erupted, some hearty, some uneasy. A few cardinals stayed stone-faced, eyes on Pope Leo, who set down his cup, expression unchanged. The laughter faded as his silence grew heavy, filling the ornate room with unease. The Italian cardinal, still smiling, said, "A jest, Your Holiness. You understand the sentiment." Pope Leo's steady gaze held the room captive. The silence became deafening. "Antichrist," Pope Leo finally said, his voice quiet but sharp. "That is not a term I take lightly." Nervous glances flickered among the cardinals. One tried to diffuse. "Your Holiness, no one meant theological." Leo raised a hand, silencing him. "As a boy," he began, "my grandmother taught me words have power. We answer for every careless one." His eyes swept the table. "She would wash my mouth with soap for speaking ill of others, even those I disagreed with." A cardinal stammered, "We meant no disrespect to your American heritage." Leo's voice stayed firm. "This is not about politics. It is about how we, shepherds of Christ's flock, speak of God's creations." The Italian cardinal's bravado vanished. "I know what you were doing," Leo said, softening slightly. "You tested me, seeking my stance, hoping I would join in condemning a leader from my homeland." The Cardinals froze, their motives laid bare. "I understand your concerns," Leo continued gently. "The Church must speak truth to power, stand for justice and mercy, but with dignity." A Latin American cardinal ventured, "Your Holiness, Trump's policies on migrants and the poor concern us." "The gospel calls." "The gospel calls us to love," Leo interjected, "especially those we disagree with." He folded his hands. "You judge Trump's heart, his faith. That is God's domain, not ours." A cardinal protested, "But when actions contradict Christian teaching—" "We all fall short," Leo countered. "Would you have your faith judged by your worst moments?" Silence fell. "Donald Trump is a man," Leo said, "with strengths and flaws, loved by God, whether we approve his politics or not." The Italian cardinal, humbled, whispered, "Forgive my humor, Your Holiness." "I spoke carelessly." Leo nodded. "We must rise above worldly division, especially here." Then, astonishingly, he added, "President Trump called me yesterday to congratulate me." Shock rippled through the room. "Personally?" a cardinal gasped. Leo nodded. "A private call, no publicity. He spoke as a believer, seeking no favors, only offering prayers for my work." A German cardinal asked, "What did you discuss?" Leo replied, "Persecution of Christians worldwide, religious freedom, the sanctity of life." He thanked Catholic schools and hospitals and admired the Church's moral stance. "He never mentioned opponents or sought support," Leo added. "His focus was faith." A cardinal muttered, "Surprising." Leo raised an eyebrow. "Is it? Or have partisan narratives clouded our view?" The question stung. "Trump is not perfect," Leo said. "No leader is. But he has defended religious liberty, the unborn, and people of faith. These matter, despite disagreements." An African cardinal said, "Some call his faith a political tool." "Some," Leo echoed, "but who judges another's heart? Who calls a Christian antichrist over political differences?" The word hung heavy, a rebuke to their earlier mockery. Trump said, "Holy Father, your voice matters, not as an American, but for something eternal," Leo shared. He told me, "My faith anchors me. Without Christ, I would have broken under daily hatred." Silence deepened as the cardinals absorbed this. A Spanish cardinal asked, "Did he mention policies aligning with church teaching?" Leo nodded. "Protecting religious organizations, redirecting aid from abortion promoters, appointing judges who respect faith's role." He paused. "Most strikingly, he asked for prayers, not for success, but wisdom." "I need to be better," he said. "I fall short daily." The vocal anti-Trump cardinal looked confused. "He said that?" "Yes," Leo confirmed. "No cameras, no press, just one Christian to another." His gaze met each cardinal's. "The man you called Antichrist prayed God give you wisdom to spread Christian love." His exact words. Stunned silence followed, assumptions crumbling. "We live in an era of caricatures," Leo said firmly. "We reduce people to their worst, forgetting each leader has a soul known only to God." He paused. "I prayed for strength to shepherd all, not just those I agree with." An Eastern European cardinal said, "Many claim Trump's faith is calculated." "Claiming does not make it so," Leo replied. "Christ said, 'Judge not, lest you be judged.'" He leaned forward. Trump shared that in his presidency's darkest moments. He prayed in the Oval Office, kneeling for guidance to serve, not to win. Cardinals exchanged surprised looks. "He spoke of enduring attacks," Leo continued, recalling Christ's words on persecution. "It did not ease the pain," he said, "but God's path is not easy." Leo's eyes burned. "Before judging, examine your hearts. Do we seek God's will or let politics decide who deserves respect?" "What humbled me," Leo concluded, was Trump saying, "I pray for strength to forgive those who slander my faith. It is Christ's hardest command, but I try daily." The Italian cardinal, chastened, whispered, "Your Holiness, I judged a man I never met, swayed by narratives. Forgive me." Leo smiled gently. Our Lord forgives when we see our errors. An Asian cardinal asked, "How do we balance speaking to political realities without partisanship?" Leo nodded. "We uphold life, dignity, care for the poor, religious liberty, truths beyond parties. Critique actions against church teaching, but equally with humility, not mockery." He added, Trump's final words were, "In a faith-hostile world, God placed us to show truths beyond politics. Without God, no society flourishes." The cardinals sat, re-evaluating biases. An American pope, Leo mused, reminds us faith transcends politics. He smiled warmly. We must model disagreement without demonizing. The world has enough division. A veteran cardinal agreed, eternal truths outlast political tides. Leo nodded. God has no party. Christ's message is for all. Standing, he concluded, Trump prayed your leadership be a voice for the voiceless, a light in darkness, not an antichrist's words, but a believer's, flawed but seeking God. The Italian cardinal approached. Your grace humbles us. Leo touched his shoulder. Christ, mocked, answered with love. So must we. As they left, Leo said, pray for all leaders. Seek humanity beyond narratives. Our allegiance is to God's kingdom. God bless you, Leo said, as we serve Christ together.